What a way to introduce my next guest. Very happy to have with us this gentleman. You can hear him on the Sports Animal in Knoxville, Sports 180, one of the co-hosts, good friend of mine, Mr. Will West. Will, how are you?
Nick, doing fantastic, sir. So you're saying I shouldn't be wearing the all-white yoga pants right now?
No, you shouldn't, Will. And quite frankly, I know you, and I don't want to disrespect you, but you're just a little too chunky for that.
Hey, we're getting there, though. We're dieting. Apparently, if you can eat anything you want to as long as you eat salad. So I figure I'm going to eat, like, enormous volumes of food, so I just eat a ton of salad.
Well, no, let's before we talk football, let's talk health tips for people.
Okay.
How much weight have you lost, or did you just start?
About 60 pounds, I guess about 10 inches off of my waist.
Congratulations. You know, I lost 60. Since we've seen each other last, I've lost 60 pounds.
Fantastic. Good job.
See that? Heck, you need to come to Vegas. You and I are cruising for chicks.
Hey, absolutely.
Let's move on. People get tired of, I'm in a mood today. I'm in one of those moods, and I don't know what's come over me, but I'm not in the mood to be serious about anything today. But I know a group of people that are starting to get serious, and that would be volunteer fans in Knoxville. I mean, for the first time in years, the Vols are now ranked back in the top 25. They've got College Game Day coming this weekend, and I would imagine the city of Knoxville is like, our Vols are back.
Oh, no, absolutely. You would not believe the overreaction here in Knoxville to wins over a very mediocre North Carolina State team and Georgia State, a team that many, high schools in Texas and Florida might actually beat if they were to play them. But, no, people are excited. I mean, it's College Game Day is coming back, and it's amazing when you look at what that's actually worth. There was a report today that College Game Day coming to your campus is worth $5 million in promotional value for you. $5 million in promotional value? Really? I didn't see that. That's a lot of cash. I guess, does it help sales and all of the, the souvenir shops, I guess? I don't know. What's it do? Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but I tell you, people are fired up here. The Tennessee-Florida game, look, Tennessee's lost 7 straight times to Florida. And it's been, for a while, I think it's kind of been a one-sided rivalry. Florida on one side gets the win. Tennessee on the other side hates Florida, while Florida just looks at Tennessee as, just they're apathetic to them. They look at him as benign. But this year, Tennessee, it opens as a pick-em, and I guess it's moved to about 3 after the end of our show at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. So, yeah, Tennessee fans are fired up. I've never seen, I'll say this, last year, number 1 LSU comes to Neyland Stadium. I'm walking into the stadium, and a lady offers me 4 tickets in the lower bowl for $20 total, $5 a head. People are trying to charge upwards over $100 a ticket now for these, even in the upper deck for the Florida game this weekend.
Speaking with Will West of the Sports Animal in Knoxville. Will, let me say this, though. Here's the thing. I am on your side. I don't want people to think I'm disrespecting Tennessee, because I do think it's a nice start for them. But when you look at what the schedule was and who they played, if they didn't do what they do, then you would send up the flares and look for emergency help, because they had to do what they did against those teams. The other thing I think is playing into their hands, and tell me if you agree with me or not, is I do not know that they are going to be meeting the Florida team that they are accustomed to meeting on the field to play, and being at home might just be enough, because I am not sold that Florida has their act together.
Well, right now, especially offensively. I mean, defensively, you know what Will Muschamp's going to bring to the table. That guy's going to have a top 7 defense in the nation, year in, year out, kind of regardless of talent. They're probably going to be a top 5, top 6 defense in the nation this year. But on the offensive side of the football, they're awful. I mean, Mike Gillislee's a pretty good running back that they have. They're offensive, but he's injured right now. He has a groin issue. Their offensive line is better than average. It's pretty good, but their quarterback play and wide receivers are really just abysmal. I mean, if you go into this game, if you're Tennessee, you got to think, we scored 21, 24 points, and with the no-huddle offense that they're running right now, with Justin Hunter, a guy who NFL draft scout right now, CBS Sports, their draft coverage has as the number 2 overall prospect of the nation for this year's coming up draft. Tyler Bray, a guy who's projected to be a first-round draft pick as well, and Cordarrelle Patterson, a guy who was the top wide receiver from the junior college ranks. You'd like to think that you can put up 21 points, and if you do put up 21 points, I think you got a pretty good shot to beat this Florida team.
Yeah, Will, when you look at it, the one thing, and again, I don't want to rain on the parade of Vols fans, and I know we've got folks listen to us in Memphis, etc., that are hoping for good things out of the Vols, but when you look at this, I think they catch Florida at the right time. They then come back, they being the Vols, they have Akron. They could easily be 4-0, and after 4-0, though, they could just as easily lose the next four. When you look at Georgia, Mississippi State, okay, I would think they should be able to win that game. However, it's possible they might not. Alabama, South Carolina, you could easily be right back to 500 and out of the top 25 4 weeks later.
No, and I think that they very well could go down that way. I mean, Tennessee's going to be their favorite in this game. They'll blow Akron out. They're handing Akron a $700,000 paycheck to come and take a backside whooping in an SEC stadium. That's just kind of the world of big-time college sports these days. No, you're absolutely right. They could beat this Florida team. They could probably beat this Florida team handily and still not be much better than an average college football team out there right now. I almost think they're in the top 25. Coming into the season, I would have thought they would have had to have beaten this Florida team to be in the top 25 to even get into 22nd, 23rd ranking in the nation. But I tell you, I think it's almost by virtue of how poorly so many other teams have played that we're seeing Tennessee in the top 25 right now. Because Arkansas, they're kind of a dumpster fire. Michigan, how great are they? Wisconsin, they fired their offensive line coach, 2 weeks into the season. There's a lot of teams out there, I think, that just aren't that good in the world of college football right now. And Tennessee, by virtue of beating one mediocre ACC team and one really bad FCS team, they've at least handled their business to date, which is enough these days, apparently, to get you in the top 25.
Speaking with Will West of the Sports Animal in Knoxville, he co-hosts Sports 180 there in the mid-morning, early afternoon. And, Will, when you look around, I know you and I spoke prior to the season, and, I had questions. You had questions as well as, could this be the last hurrah for Derek Dooley if it doesn't happen? I mean, even though they've had this nice start, how do people still feel about him? Now, I know team-wise, as you said, there's some really good players on that team. Maybe not enough of them, but good players. But how do people still in their heart of hearts in Knoxville feel about the job that Derek Dooley's doing?
It's still, the jury's still out. I mean, right now, I think you're seeing a lot of Tennessee fans say, well, Tennessee's back. But at the same time, these same Tennessee fans, when they call our show, when they hit us up on social media, you hear them also say, well, we lose to Florida, and all of a sudden, all of this is wiped away. All the good feelings that we have right now are completely gone, and you're going to see people call for Derek Dooley's job on Monday when they call our show. That's what is going to happen if they lose this game. So I think Tennessee fans would like to see Derek Dooley succeed. Tennessee fans, after watching them lay a neck against the Kentucky team that had to put a wide receiver at quarterback, they had only had 6 plays in their playbook, according to their offensive coordinator. Watching them lose again to that team, I tell you, Tennessee fans, they're definitely not confident. I'll say that.
Well, when you look at things, and let me say this, just outside of Tennessee as well, as you look at things, the SEC West, of course, Alabama showing their mettle early. I think it's going to play out Alabama, LSU, as they say. But, the East is what's up for grabs. When you look at the East, 2 weeks into the season, Tennessee had the good start. They really haven't played anybody. You look at Georgia, they did, finally come back, did a nice job with Missouri late in the game. When you look at the East, who do you think is the odds-on favorite to win that thing?
I think right now you have to say it's Georgia, and that's almost by default. South Carolina, I don't know if you got to see that Vanderbilt game. They really didn't look good. I mean, they didn't look good at all in that game. Connor Shaw has trouble throwing the football when he's out there. I know Dylan Thompson, he played pretty well against East Carolina, but how good is East Carolina's secondary, really? He couldn't throw the ball against Vanderbilt. I mean, he couldn't throw a forward pass that felt like it was, confident it was actually going to be completed. Georgia, they're not awful. I mean, I almost want to say that's the case. Missouri, they're a talented team, especially at the skill positions, but they just don't seem to have enough along the lines of scrimmage, offensively and defensively, I think, to survive the SEC schedule in year one. Really, you know what? People talk about all the time about how strong the SEC is, and at the top right now, the SEC is the strongest conference in the nation. And I say year in, year out, if you did a 20-year case study, the SEC would be the strongest conference in the nation overall on average. But if you look at really what the SEC is this year, let's look at the SEC West. That LSU and Alabama will play one team that has even the ability that can put the type of athletes on the field to play with them. It's just not competitive right now, the SEC isn't. I mean, Alabama and LSU are great football teams. But if you think about it, Michigan barely beat Air Force, that team that Alabama just beat. And then you see they're going to play Auburn, who's not a good football team. A&M's not a good football team. Arkansas just lost to Monroe. I mean, let's go through the list of how many teams are you right now buying if you're buying stock in, if you're purchasing a college football team out there. In the SEC, you got two I think that you feel good about. You don't feel awful about Georgia. And the rest of them, you look at and you have to say, wow, this is a really, really mediocre conference outside of those top two teams and a Georgia team that you feel like they are at least talented, whether or not they put it all together on the field week in and week out.
Speaking with Will West, hey, Will, I got about a minute or so here. You hit on some of the other teams, and I know you're in Knoxville, and you're right there, UT territory. But, you mentioned Vandy, and, South Carolina really got away with one against Vanderbilt. But then Vanderbilt, my estimation, laid an egg with Northwestern. Any feelings? Have people had anything to say about Vandy? I know I was one of the people thought that Vanderbilt was making strides, and I don't know, after 2 weeks, I don't know if you can say it.
No, I agree with you. Their defensive line's small. That hurts them. They should be able to run the ball this year, but I'll tell you, Jordan Rodgers in the first two games has been a liability at quarterback at times. He just makes boneheaded decisions, and you don't know what he's doing with the football sometimes. I think James Franklin's a good coach, but I do think the first quarter of that South Carolina game, he was too busy trying to send messages and not busy enough just calling plays and taking what the South Carolina defense was giving him. That's a Vandy team I think we all thought was going to take a step this year. Some people thought they may even get 7-5, 8-4. Let's remember, Vanderbilt's never gone to a bowl ever in its history 2 years in a row. And I think most people expected that to happen this year. But right now, 0-2, you lose to that Northwestern team, and now you get the rest of the SEC schedule ahead of you. I don't know if you feel that good if you're a Vanderbilt fan right now. To even get to 6-6. Yeah.
Speaking with Will West, sports animal in Knoxville, Sports 180. And, Will, I always appreciate you joining us here. And, I am happy that you've lost 60 pounds. I really am. I congratulate you on that. The good thing is if you wear Nike NFL pants, you might not see all of your junk. That's a good thing, dropping 60 pounds. But anyway, brother, I do appreciate you giving us some time. Look forward to chatting with you again soon. And just tell the people in Knoxville, temper the enthusiasm, enjoy it, but don't print the national championship tickets yet, I don't think.
I think I'm completely on board with you, Nick. Thanks for having me, man.
Will, have a great day. Will West, sports animal in Knoxville, good friend. Always enjoy having him on the show. I can't believe he's lost 60 pounds. I wouldn't recognize him. Love having you on board. The show will roll on. It's the Nick Bonsanto Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.